Hello, and welcome to our Grade 3, Unit 8 Cadre recording. During our time together, you will want to have either your physical TRS for Unit 8 or access to the Digital Benchmark Universe platform. You will also want to have access to your grade level scope and sequence, which is located on Blender. On your scope, you will find the following documents hyperlinked for your convenience: ELA Best Benchmarks Growth Across Units, the Unit Planner, and the Trimester 3 data collection sheets. In addition to those items, you may also want to have your copy of the ELA Best Standards nearby for reference while planning. Let's start with our welcoming ritual. The old rhyme, April showers bring May flowers, has me thinking, what are you looking forward to this spring? Please pause here to share with your colleagues. Shown here on your screen is the vision for ELA instruction for our district for this school year. Since this is our expected outcome and it is so important to our success, I'd like to take a moment for you to read it to yourself. We will keep this vision forefront in our minds while we take on planning for instruction in ELA. Here are the topics I'm planning to work through with you today. As you can see, today we will share the Unit 8 overview, which benchmarks are supported within this unit, and the resources to support your planning. Pause points are embedded to allow individuals or teams to plan as we go. We will then spend time discussing what we can do with word study parts of Units 9 and all of the word study instruction in Unit 10 that we will not be getting to. Let's get started. Students will read informational text about weather and climate, with the focus on cloud types and tropical storms. Please take a moment to read over the essential question and enduring understandings for Grade 3. Here on the ELA benchmarks that are supported during Unit 8 in Grade 3, these benchmarks presented here and on the scope for Unit 8 reflect the work that students are practicing and applying within this unit. Additional benchmarks not shown here are taught and practiced. These additional benchmarks can be found within the unit planners. Over the next 4 slides, we will show each strand with the benchmarks that are supported written out so that you may pause to read the end of year expectations. Please take a moment to read the foundations benchmarks that are supported in this unit. On this slide, we have the reading strand. As a reminder, the bold print signifies the new work to this grade level. Please take a moment to read the reading benchmarks that are supported in this unit. On this slide, we have the communication strand. Please take a moment to read the communication benchmarks that are supported in this unit. Finally, please take a moment to read the vocabulary benchmarks that are supported in this unit. Now that we have spent some time getting to know the benchmarks for this unit, you will want to access the Benchmarks Growth Across Units document located at the top of your scope and sequence. Over the next few minutes, read across the benchmarks for this unit, noticing the work the students are doing. Also notice how the work grows from unit to unit. We will want to hold students accountable for the learning they have done across the year so far. Please pause here and jot any noticings. You may have noticed that within the communication strand, C1.5 and C5.1 are shaded green in Unit 8. This green shading indicates that a particular benchmark has been taught and practiced to its full extent. You may also notice that the vocabulary strand, V1.2, is also shaded green in Unit 8. Here are the comprehensive literacy planners for Unit 8, which are found within the benchmark materials. As a reminder, all of the lessons for a particular day need to be taught in lesson number order, as each component supports the next. You will now want to access the unit planner for this unit. In a moment, I will ask you to pause here to read the cover page. Notice in the benchmarks we will be collecting within the unit for trimester 3 and the considerations both by week and for the unit overall. Please pause now. One consideration I want to highlight is the note about how this unit will require some advanced preparation of text that includes science topics on weather and climate. Additionally, for writing, take note about how students should include 2 or more multimedia elements to research, report, expository writing. Here are the unit planners for Unit 8. They are organized by component to show how the work grows across the week with a summary at the end of each week. The D symbol and benchmark indicate that a particular part of a lesson or student work would be a good place to collect data for report card purposes. You will want to spend time now noticing the work that will be taking place. You might decide to start by reading the lessons in your TRS while utilizing the planner to notice how the work is growing across the week and then unit. Determine how you might scaffold for your students and determine in which ways you might engage your learners. You will want to take note of the text that will be used, anchor charts that will be made, and opportunities for data collection. By looking at all 3 reading summaries together, we can see how the work that students will mainly be learning and practicing are being developed. Notice how the work is building within a week, but also across all 3 weeks. Now, by looking at the writing summaries across all 3 weeks, we can see that in week 1, the students are brainstorming topic ideas about weather and climate, researching and taking notes from valid sources, and organizing information from sources for their essay. During week 2, students utilize their plans to draft an introduction that grabs the reader's attention. They then draft body paragraphs using facts, definitions, and examples to develop the central idea. Students use transition words and phrases to strengthen connections between ideas, facts, examples, and details. Then, finally, draft a conclusion by restating the main points, connecting the reader's own experience, or making recommendations. During week 3, students will revise, edit, and publish their final piece using digital tools, including visuals and graphics. We've just spent a lot of time reading through our benchmark materials and our unit planner. Earlier, we briefly talked about places to collect data for report card purposes and how many of those are indicated on the unit planner with the D symbol. When planning, it is still best practice to have the data collection sheets available to see if there are other good places to collect throughout this unit so that you can ensure you have at least 3 pieces of data for each benchmark being reported out on for report cards. Our data collection sheets are linked right on our scope and sequence. You will want to click on Trimester 3 Data Collection. You can also find them on Blender within the Report Card Support tab. The data collection spreadsheets can be your digital gradebook if you choose. If you prefer other tools for data collection like a paper pencil checklist, now is a great time. On your screen, you can see one example for communication and vocabulary. Don't forget to look at all 4 strands when planning. Please pause and determine as a team which pieces of evidence you are committing to collecting. When will you bring them back to your team to discuss student progress? This will help you to make decisions about any small group reteaching that may be needed along the way and to mark your report cards at the end of the trimester. Now that we have thought about planning for Unit 8, you might be wondering, what about word study in Units 9 and 10? As we know, Benchmark Advanced Florida provides us with 10 units. Given the amount of days in a school year, we are only able to teach through weeks 1 and 2 of Unit 9 this year. So you may be wondering, what about the rest of Unit 9 and all of Unit 10? One thing to consider in those 2 units is the word study skills that we will not be getting to. Here on your screen, you see the word study matrices found within the program reference guide. Let's take a look at the word study focus for Units 9 and 10. How might we incorporate this work throughout the remainder of the school year? Please pause to brainstorm with your colleagues. You and your colleagues may have shared that during Unit 8, these word study skills can be part of your explicit word study instruction during small group instruction. Additionally, you may decide to incorporate these skills during whole group word study instruction. For example, during week 1 of Unit 9, incorporating additional suffixes from Unit 10, week 2. Another example is during week 2 of Unit 9, including additional prefixes. Unit 9 focuses on spending time and money, and Unit 10 focuses on forces and interactions. Since we will not be getting to all of this text found in the text for close reading, you may decide to use these texts when reteaching certain benchmarks. You will be building background knowledge on these topics while also working on benchmarks that need additional support. Additionally, by using the resources, strategies, and skills to build knowledge, for Units 9 and 10, you may be able to restructure certain whole group lessons into small group lessons for skills that need additional support. For example, if I have a small group of students that need additional support with identifying text structure of cause and effect, I can see that this skill is a focus of Unit 10, Week 1. I can then look at the comprehensive literacy planner and then the specific lessons that I could use during small group instruction. We have a few ins and outs that we like to share with you about this unit. In preparation for this research unit, you may want to curate some resources for your students on a few science topics. This unit has a focus on Earth's weather. There are multiple sources that can be used by students to conduct research within the benchmark resources. The text for close reading booklet has text on clouds, climate and weather, blizzards, and hurricanes. The word study practice test has text on blizzards and hurricanes. Within the ebook library, there are student readers on hurricanes. The 2 on the slides are from grade 3 and grade 4 text band. The Knowledge Building Topic Library Weather Reporters has sections that touch on both weather and climate topics. With both the ebook library and the Knowledge Building Topic Libraries, you can search within different grade levels and text bands to find additional text at different levels. You already know that you will need to gather and provide some text to support Unit 8 writing. You may also need to know that the Research and Inquiry Project Research a Community has 2 parts carrying across Unit 7 and 8. In Unit 7, students completed Part 1, Steps 1 through 3. Now, in Unit 8, students will complete Steps 4 through 6 by creating a research report, poster video, or a pamphlet that includes information about the community's history, culture, geographic location, weather, and climate that made it unique. then presenting information, speaking clearly in complete sentences, and being prepared to answer questions about the research. Finally, self-reflecting to think about the topic and the research. You can see how students doing the research in Unit 7 has set them up for success in their work in Unit 8. This is one important reason why you may want to use the research and inquiry projects next year. There are connections everywhere. As a wrap up, you or your team will need to continue planning for Unit 8. As we discussed today, you will need to read every lesson, utilizing the planning resources to see how the work grows across the week and units. You will want to determine ways in which you will engage your learners. You will also want to continue to use data collection sheets to select places where you will plan to collect student evidence. Thank you so much for your collaboration today. I hope you find the resources to support planning helpful as you take on Unit 8 and enjoy watching your students continue to grow as readers and writers. As we wrap up, take a moment to pause and discuss as a team. What are you hoping will grow amongst your students during this unit? Thank you again for joining me today. For additional support with benchmark implementation or general ELA questions, please reach out to your district literacy specialist. Have a great unit.